Welcome to Walking with Jesus Bible Study. We're going to be in the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 5. And of course, this is Jesus speaking. But I will forewarn you, whom ye shall fear. Fear him, which after he hath killed, hath power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. I'll repeat that. But I will forewarn you, whom ye shall fear. Fear him, which after he hath killed, hath power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. Fear. A lot of, almost all preachers and teachers, when they teach about God's grace, his love, and his mercy, and his forgiveness. That in teaching so, they're twisting the truth into saying we don't need to fear God anymore. In fact, that was the old, because we're in the new covenant, and the Old Testament is the old covenant. That when people say and preach about fearing God, that it was the old way. But this is showing you right here, right now, that this is Jesus, the words out of his own mouth. New Testament, new covenant, to fear your God. Just because we are under grace does not mean that we trade fear for grace. And that is what is being taught here, to trade our fear for grace. And that is the mistake, the misuse of God's grace. Yes, we are under the grace of God, but we should still fear him. The scriptures tells us to actually fear him. Not only just in the Old Testament, but also in the New Testament, and out of Jesus' own mouth. The Old Testament and its stories is a perfect example of just why we should fear God. The Israelites, God's chosen people, did not fear him, and they paid dearly for it. This is a group of people who was eyewitnesses to his mighty power. Eyewitnesses. If they had just but feared God, they would have been obedient to his word. They had such a lack of fear that they didn't even be grateful or thankful. They had the audacity to complain about all the miracles and blessing that God was giving them. Food that fell from heaven. And they cried out, oh, if we was put back into slavery, we could have the onions and we could have the herbs. Oh, I wish I had meat. God handed them over to their own desires and wants. So much so that he made so much fall that many of them overate themselves to death. Throughout the 40 years, because of their constant complaint, God sent snakes. He even opened up the earth to swallow them. He even had their very own people kill them off. Besides what they saw, what God had did to Pharaoh, they still had no fear. Because if they did, which is crazy, how could you not be afraid of something that you just witnessed with the power and authority to cause all those 10 plagues and still made it through? Could you imagine standing right there and the person right next to you, the earth is opened up and swallowed over 10 to 12,000 people and closed up on them and just barely missed you? How could you not be afraid of that? This was God's own chosen people. We are a generation that fears the world, the enemy, demons, evil spirits, aliens. What the evil people, all the evil things that's going around in the world, the war, the diseases, the bullcrap that the government is playing out with, making you afraid of COVID when it's just an actual flu that comes every year. That until you go and actually get those vaccines is when they shoot the actual poison that does you damage into your body. Because you're afraid. I'm afraid I'm going to catch this. I'm afraid I'm going to let me go and be obedient to the world, the government that has been set from the beginning of time to try to capture you and kill you off. God is the only one that's trying to save anybody, but yet we don't fear him, we don't obey him, and we don't listen to him. But anytime the world says something and they say jump, we go, how high? Too many people who call themselves Christians and children of God is being more obedient to people that they don't even know. Oh, I don't like that outfit you got on. It makes you look ugly and fat. And because of the bullying, the name calling, you change who you are. You end up becoming something that you are not. You end up becoming just like the world. I don't want to get bullied, so I'm going to dress this way. I'm going to wear this name brand. I'm going to do that. You fear people who don't care about you. You'll be obedient to the ones that are sent out to harm you and could care less, nor do they love you. But you'll be obedient and you'll be afraid of them. But God says you are to fear nobody but him. See, the power behind. The power behind fear of God. We are missing it. That the lack of fear of God will be our own downfall. And we won't be able to blame the enemy because we did it to ourselves. If we feared God, we would be obedient to his every word. Temptation would have no hold on us because we would be like, oh no, God said no, so I'm good. No. Do you know who God is? Do you know what he can do? No, bro, I'm good. Take that over there. Do you not understand what God can do? People, are you listening to me? The most powerful prayer that you could ever pray is for God, please place the fear of God inside of me. Because we have lost our minds in not understanding the very importance of the fear of God. It has been one of the biggest lies the enemy has placed into the teachings of our generations, that God's grace and mercy and forgiveness means we should not fear him. But you actually got to look at it, because it clearly speaks fear. Because if God didn't have grace, if God didn't have mercy, if God didn't have forgiveness, we would be dead right now. He does not have to give us these. He chooses to. And at any moment, he can stop giving us grace. He can stop giving us mercy. And he can stop forgiving us for our actions and what we do. Just as he did to the Israelites in the wilderness. He gave them over to their own desires, their own greed. Let me tell you something right now. Just because you are chosen, you are not exempt from God's wrath. Did you get that? Just because you are God's chosen doesn't mean that you're exempt from God's wrath. Wake up, people.